Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things you missed in Werewolf by Night. For this list, we're looking over the Easter eggs, both overt and nuanced, that you may have missed over the course of the MCU's first special monster-filled presentation. Naturally, spoilers ahead. Think we skipped over a pivotal point? Bark at the moon and let us know in the comments. Number 10. Ulysses' Coffin. Bit of a blink and you'll miss it moment. You can always count on Marvel to interject a joke or two even in the darkest of settings. Though for this one, you may have to strain your eyes a little. The coffin of Ulysses Bloodstone is pretty much what you'd expect from a man who spent his life hunting monsters. Large, imposing, and adorned with a large blade and the famous shotgun he frequently used in the comics. However, on the back there's a sign printed on that reads, "This way up."
A friend, lover without equal.
Now, we can't help but imagine how this deadly serious meeting of hunters would have gone if the host had set up the coffin upside down. Wouldn't have exactly been a flattering look for old Ulysses. Number 9. Dog habits. Werewolf by Night may be a killing machine bound to the whims of the full moon and his predatory nature, but he's still somewhere in the realm of a dog, and dogs all have common traits. Jack Russell, aside from sharing the name of a dog breed, seems to have taken on a few of these even when in human form. He mentions he can smell the blood on Jovan's hands, which, given his enhanced senses, could be taken literally.
Next year's my 30th season.
I can almost smell the blood in your hands.
Though the most obvious examples are when he and Elsa are locked in the cage, where he scratches his ear just like a dog would.
Perhaps not in the category that you would call a human.
As well as having to sniff her just so his more bestial half can recognize her.
What are you doing? And this is what?
I need to remember you.
Number 8. Sushi or shawarma. Heroes, monsters, some hybrid of the two, doesn't matter who or what you are. Everyone gets the munchies, especially if you just spent the night tearing apart hunters in a murderous rage brought on by a supernatural amulet. Out in the wilderness with all the bloodshed behind them, Jack and Man-Thing finally get a moment to themselves to just breathe. And then they decide to get sushi.
I can't think of food right now. Let's do sushi.
It's just a quirky end to a crazy night, but then again, the Avengers had a similar foodie mentality following the Battle of New York.
You ever tried shawarma?
Death and destruction obviously works up an appetite. Number 7. The Record Players. Director and composer Michael Giacchino naturally flooded Werewolf by Night with all the ambiance you could want from a feature inspired by classic horror tropes, but he also dropped in a couple of licensed tracks that not only add to the atmosphere, but also apply another layer to Elsa Bloodstone's character. Echoing out via record players, we first hear Wishing Will Make It So by Vera Lynn, whose lyrics hint to Elsa's childhood filled with regret and hardship. Later on, we're treated to Wizard of Oz's Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which not only turns the special Technicolor, but also could hint at the direction of Elsa's new life now that she's the head of the Bloodstone family. Number 6. Thor, God of Narrators.
The known universe, with its heroes and marvels. But what of the darkness?
This is for the die-hard Marvel fans who consume every last bit of media, animated or otherwise, and have an ear for picking out voices. Like any good horror picture from that golden era, Werewolf by Night kicks things off with a swift bit of narration that sets up this spooky world we're about to inhabit for the next hour.
But now, this weapon is in want of a new master.
And who is providing the narration? None other than Rick Wasserman, who has portrayed Thor across various Marvel projects, including the much-beloved Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Have you no honor?
Not even a little.
Then you should be familiar with attacking a foe from behind.
Glad to see, or hear, that he's part of the MCU canon in some small way.
And woe to the monster who finds itself among them.
Number 5. Ted the Man-Thing. Say hello to the original Swamp Thing.
Hey, what's up? Well, of course I was gonna come find you.
While comic fans easily scoped out and identified this creature as soon as the trailer dropped, MCU purists might not realize what the deal is with Jack Russell's monstrous BFF.
Ted. He's called Ted.
To summarize, Man-Thing was indeed a man, once upon a time, before shenanigans ensued and he fell into a swamp that turned out to be a Nexus gateway. And now he can burn anyone who fears him with acidic claws. Yeah, so why does Jack refer to such a beast with the adorable nickname of Ted? Because it's the last remnant of Man-Thing's human name, Theodore Salas.
Ted, you have a lovely name.
We imagine we'll be seeing more of Ted in the future. Number 4. The Crypt. Fans are always on the lookout for background details, where the director may have casually etched a name or piece of lore into the scene. In this instance, we've got the Bloodstone family crypt. While Elsa and Jack form an uneasy alliance in order to survive the night and ensure Man-Thing's freedom, the camera pans over to the various names printed on the coffins. Among them are the likes of David Long, which could be in reference to the prop maker Foreman who worked on MCU films such as Captain America the Winter Soldier and Iron Man 3. There's also Jacob Howell, likely referring to Jacob Balcom and Matt Howell, the hosts of the Werewolf By Night segment on the Marvel by the Month podcast. Number 3. Werewolf vs. Dracula. While looking over the trophies, aka the heads of the various monsters the Bloodstone family have slain, Jack points out that he's had various run-ins with a certain vampire that's now mounted on the wall.
Any of these Hackett beasties your handiwork?
No, but him I fought a few times.
This is likely a nod to the times in the comics where Marvel's resident werewolf took on Dracula. Yes, the Lord of the Night is very much a character in the Marvel Universe, and while he's most famed for tangoing with Blade over the years, he's had his fair share of tussles with Werewolf by Night as well. Hard to say if this is just a nod to Jack's history with the Bloodsuckers, or if they're setting up future supernatural showdowns.
He's never looked so alive.
Number 2. Ulysses the Ageless. The Bloodstone family manor has a long, eventful history, some of which can be seen woven into the walls of their manor. Alongside the various decapitated monster heads are portraits depicting the beasts in their full fury, going toe-to-toe with a single warrior. Simple artistic expression, or perhaps a piece of history? Well, now he's revealed to be nothing more than a wind-up corpse. Ulysses, in the comics at least, was once a caveman who was blessed with an extraordinarily long life thanks to the power of the Bloodstone. In turn, this allowed him to live through the ages, spending centuries hunting the creatures that now decorate his lounge. Given the ceremonial armor propped up around the room, it's clear he'd been in the business for a long while. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Slashes, shocks, and cigarette burns. To say that Werewolf by Night was inspired by and pays homage to the horrors of yesteryear is a colossal understatement. If anything, it's the very foundation on which it was built. There's obviously the claw marks cutting across the intro, the Marvel logo being shocked like something out of Frankenstein, and of course, the entire thing being presented in black and white. But there's one detail that not everyone is likely to catch. In the top corner, during a couple of scenes, you'll see what appears to be burn marks. Back in the day, these were known as cigarette burns and were used to indicate that a film reel was about to change. It's such a small thing, but speaks volumes to how committed Michael Giacchino was to making this Monster Mash feel as authentic as possible. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.